Like, you don't have to work until you're 65 or 72. You can do something different. So that like sparked something in my brain where I decided right then, I'm going to retire at 45.
The more relaxed I am, the more money I make. That's one of my favorite Lisa quotes.
Let's bring those subconscious beliefs to the conscious level so we can say, oh, that's why I do this. This isn't something that you have to be born with money smarts. This is a learned skill. And being able to have money become a strength, I think, is something that's important. That anyone listening to this can become really good with money. But money has to be viewed in a really healthy way. Otherwise, it's like, it's against you. Like, I'll never have enough.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another awesome episode of Limitless Living we have a very amazing, interesting guest today that I can't wait to introduce all of you to. And in this podcast today, please be sure to subscribe and join us and join our Limitless Living community, because my goal is to bring you all things when it comes to all things mindset, manifestation, and meditations. And today we are going to talk about wealth. And I have one amazing person that I have learned so much about. And she happens to be my investment coach and a dear, dear friend at this point. And I have learned so much from her, and I couldn't wait to have her on this podcast of Limitless Living so she could teach you so many things on how to start training your brain to attract more wealth in the next 30 days. So stay tuned, subscribe, and please let us know in the comments. We always come back in this podcast and really attend to your comments and all the things you have to say, all the things you want to learn, so we can have Lisa again. But for right now, I'm super excited to introduce Lisa to our podcast, Limitless Living. Welcome, Lisa. Happy to have you here and to be doing this episode, because money is a very interesting topic. And I think I have grown so much in terms of my own mindset and all the things that I've learned from you. So welcome, welcome, welcome before I introduce you.
Thank you for having me, Gunjani. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. So I'm just going to tell all of you, for some of you, you may be new on this channel with me, and I just want to take a moment to introduce Lisa to you before I let her do her own little intro about where her journey about wealth and money and all the things she teaches and all the things she feels passionate about started from. So Lisa is a globally recognized wealth strategist, educator, and mentor with over 20 years of experience in teaching finance and investing at a collegiate level. As the founder of the Wealth Building Mastermind, Lisa has transformed 10,000 students and clients worldwide by simplifying complex financial concepts into actionable steps. So I hope you're sitting with pen and paper today, because you're going to learn a lot. And if you're not sitting with pen and paper, I invite you to write and process in the comments, because you're going to learn a lot. There is so much information that we have planned for you today. So I want you to have a pen and paper ready today, because these are going to be simple, easy, actionable strategies that she's going to share with us on how to attract wealth in the next 30 days, but also have a plan for the rest of your life and even the next generation, actually. So her expertise lies in helping individuals not only grow their wealth, but also protect and sustain it for long-term success. And we're going to start by talking about that. Lisa's passion for financial empowerment stems from her belief that anyone, regardless of their starting point, can achieve financial independence with the right mindset and guidance. She has empowered thousands of students with the tools and knowledge to take control of their financial futures. With a unique ability to connect, inspire, and educate, Lisa is committed to fostering financial literacy and creating a ripple effect of financial freedom across generations. So I'm so pleased and honored to have you on our podcast, teaching and talking and doing all the things you do. So welcome, Lisa. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thanks, Gunjani.
Okay. All right. So Lisa, I would like to start with let's start way at the top. As in, I know I gave your formal introduction, but if I had a time machine and if I had to go back, I want people to kind of get to know you and where you actually started your journey, about like, where did this passion for teaching wealth, where does this passion for, financial success and all the things that you live life by? Because on this channel, we truly believe I believe that we have to tap into our greatness, and we have this limitlessness, all of us, to us, and we can 100% create, 80% actually, create the life that we desire. And in order to do that, money happens to be one of the things that we need on this human plane to maneuver through. So I want to kind of know where your journey started and what's your story. What does that look like?
I think there was a couple pivotal points. So I think it's important to know that I actually started out as someone who felt like they were not very good with money. So when I left to go to college, I had a distinct impression, I got to figure this out. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm going to be in trouble if I don't figure this out. So I tried to learn by reading books and doing other things so that I could pay off debt and just kind of start with the really basics. And honestly, this is something that I believe was kind of a weakness that's become a strength over time. And that's not possible for anyone. This isn't something that you have to be born with money smarts. This is a learned skill. So anyone can learn this. I was a teacher. I retired from teaching at 45, but I taught my whole career. I did other things on the side, but that was my main career. I was a teacher. And I taught at high school and I taught at the university level. So when I was teaching at high school, I had been teaching about 3 years. And there was a new teacher that was hired. And it turned out that this new teacher would become my financial mentor. And there was two instances that really made an impression and just kind of changed the trajectory of my life. And one was, he said, I'm almost financially independent and I'm going to retire in 2 years. And he was 40. And I thought, whoa, like, you can do that? Like, you don't have to work until you're 65 or 72. You can do something different. So that like sparked something in my brain where I decided right then, I just kind of pulled out the number, but like, I'm going to retire at 45. And I just decided right then and there. And then the other thing was, we were teaching together during 9/11. And when that day happened, we were sitting at the lunch table watching live and then reruns of, the towers being hit, crashing. And my financial mentor was to my right, and the principal who was in charge of, the school at the time was to my left. And he was standing up, literally holding on to his own hair. And he was like pulling his hair out. And so I look at him and he's standing and I thought, okay, he doesn't really know anything about investing. And he's like saying,
that, yes.
He's saying, I'm losing my life savings because the market was in a free fall for 4 days. And so I'm looking at him and his reaction, his emotional reaction. And then I look at Craig, who would become my financial mentor, and he was sitting there with a lunch in a brown paper sack, eating like the same thing that his kids had taken to school calmly. Yeah. And I thought, that man knows more than all of us combined, more than, 2,000 people combined about the stock market. And he was so relaxed about it. And it was in a free fall.
Wow.
So the difference of the reaction, I thought, I don't want to have this emotional reaction like my principal is having. I want to be cool, calm, and collect when these things happen, like Craig. And so that I can still picture all of this happening as if it were yesterday. And that had a big impact on me. So I talked to Craig as much as I could. And I think having a mentor is really helpful because it allows you to kind of skip the pitfalls. One thing Craig said to me is, Lisa, your journey is going to be different than mine, because I started out with some benefits from my family, and you're going to have to basically start from ground zero. And so he gave some books and just put me on the path to learning. And then eventually I created a set and forget it system that I taught at the college and university level. So me starting at like scratch and being able to have money become a strength, I think is something that's important, that anyone listening to this can become really good with money. So it used to stress me out, and now I think it's fun. And going from the opposite ends of how people feel about money. So I wasn't born wealthy. My parents didn't sit me down and say, hey, this is how you invest in the stock market. I had none of those advantages. And so I think you can really it's really about determination and desire.
Oh my goodness. I'm actually taking notes while you're writing this down, even though I know all the things that you teach me. But every time I sit with you, I'm like hungry for information. So I want to double click into so much of what you just said. One of the biggest things that we talk about in the world of manifestation and law of attraction is four things. First of all, like FTBA, which is your feelings, your emotional patterns, your emotional habits, your thoughts that you repeat over and over become your belief, and then your actions, right? Because it's not just about wishful thinking and sitting here praying all day long, but actually taking aligned actions to attract more of what we want, right? And to me, that was a hard lesson. So you said so many things in just like 5 minutes of all the amazing nuggets that you dropped. But I really appreciate your story, because I think a lot of our viewers and our audience and our community relate to the fact that a lot of times we're not born with the advantage of having that level of money. But also, one of the things that you said that really strikes with me, and on my own journey with you, I've been in your mastermind and I've done this journey with you for almost 3-4 years now. And from like, for some of you, you may not know, Lisa happens to be my investment coach and a dear friend. But for me, it came from this burning desire of like, yes, I had an advantage of growing up in a family where my dad did financially help me. But when I wanted to learn, my journey started with, I got a whole bunch of, in India, we get cash when we have children or when we have birthdays or we have weddings or whatever. And Avik, which is my son, when he was born, we had a whole bunch of cash and we got some money. And I was like, okay, it was like $1,000. But I was like, I want him to start out with, that was one thing that I had told myself, that if we get cash for him, I want him to start out with at zero, like day one. I opened his high yield savings and I started investment the way I knew it at the time. And this was 3 years before I met you. So I was like, okay, I need to be doing something. I want to learn, but I didn't know what to invest and how to invest. My dad was an investor. So I always grew up in a family where I knew to make money work for you, but I just didn't know how. And as a woman, I really wanted to learn that. And when I asked my dad, he's like, you don't need to worry about that. It's okay. You don't need. And I'm like, no, I do need to worry about that. I'm a mom now. I want to worry about that. And I want to put his money to work. This is not my money. This is his money. So by the time he's 18, I want him to be set. So that was my story of meeting you, because at the time you were beginning your career as a coach and expanding into serving lots and lots and lots of people. And I needed to learn investment, and it really helped to know that you were like that mentor, because I want to double click into the mentor thing, that the importance of having mentors and why. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I know like train your brain, like the highlight of this whole thing is how to train your brain to make more wealth. But one of the things that you said is very important. And I think we should start here, because I started my journey with you and I feel like I have expedited my time of doing things. Like I have 10x the time by collapsing the time if I had to just learn from free YouTube videos or learn from books and all the things like you were trying to learn, right?
Yeah.
So after this, we'll definitely talk about mindset, because that is like a big part of this, but mentorship and why that's important.
I think that, especially where I'm at now in my career development and just online, I try to be the smallest fish in a room full of big fish, honestly. So I'm in different masterminds that allow me to shortcut.
Yeah.
So when I became retired, I was still learning online. I was using a lot of information I was finding. There wasn't a ton of information back then. There wasn't a lot of blogs, and books really didn't address it. And the prevailing belief was you have to work until you're 65. And that information turned out to be all wrong. And so what I've always known, I think intuitively, is that if I can get somebody on my team who can say, do this, and do this. And even if I don't understand those things yet, I can still benefit by taking action. So fear doesn't create wealth, action does. But we want to take the right action. And sometimes you have to, play around to kind of figure out what's right and what's not. But a mentor saves you so much time, so much money. and so much grief and stress. And you also have somebody who's saying, no, no, this is normal. This is going to work out. And so for me, at this point, the biggest progress I've made is when I've had a mentor to help me. So
100%.
specifically financially, and running a business. And I really honestly would probably hire a coach for almost anything at this point, because that coach is good. You're going to make, like you talked about, like exponential growth in a really short period of time. And people are kind of shocked how well their investments will grow if they're allocated correctly, even small amounts. And so I think mentorship and hiring a mentor or a coach is one of the most important things you can do to fast track your success.
100%. So I want to also talk about one of the other things, because a lot of times I hear objections from people, like when we started, right? Like when I started my whole investing in myself journey, because before that I was very scarcity mindset, and I'm like, I don't have the money to invest. And somehow it showed up when it came to, investing with you. Actually, I was sitting with my card and I'm like, but so many lessons and so many things came as a result of that manifestation, where we hear an objection from people that I don't have the money to invest. And I want to double click into the mindset of that and how those objections kind of impact. And that's the next thing actually I want to talk about, like mindset in terms of, I know that we have self-limiting beliefs, right? But a lot of times, we don't know what they are. And that was one of the biggest things that I learned with you on my wealth journey with you, because you are very heavily mindset focused. And given all the work that I've done over the years, I too am. And I think it really, really is important to address the mindset. I want to start with the emotions. You said that, I noticed my mentor being very calm, cool, and collected. Mm-hmm. Tell me more about that, because I know one of your favorite quotes is, the more relaxed I am, the more money I make. That's one of my favorite Lisa quotes. So tell me more.
I think when you first start out with money, it's really stressful. Some people feel a lot of anxiety, or they will just avoid it altogether. And they have like beliefs, or have been told or think, or on some level, that money's stressful, or they're not going to have enough. Or that they're not good enough with money. I see that a lot. And Gunjani, when I first started teaching at the college and then university level, I realized I could teach them exactly how to become millionaires, because they were 18, right? 18 to 24-year-olds. I was teaching how to retire at 35. So they could become millionaires really early in life because they had, so much time. But if I only taught this is how you do it, and I didn't address the mindset, it didn't work. It didn't work. I'm teaching them exactly what to do, and only a certain percentage of them are doing it. And so then I realized the importance of mindset. And to be honest, I think it's 80% mindset, or how you 100%. Think, how you train your brain to think about wealth or money, earning, spending, all of that. And then it's 20% actual skills.
Strategies.
So, if I can give away and have many, many times, here's what you do.
Right.
And people go, that's great. And then they go make dinner and they go home and watch TV, and then that's it. Like they don't execute. Very few people execute.
Yeah.
But if they get into a place where they have support, like into your community, where I can come back when I'm starting to think, okay, what do I do here? And I have some new emotions about that. Then you have a community of like-minded people who are thinking just like you, or even better, thinking bigger than you, right?
100%.
So the feelings about money cause us, and it's all subconscious. So we just act. We're not trying to sabotage ourselves. We're not trying on purpose. Like, you're not going to say, I will live my life in 2025. You're not trying to do that. It's just that you have a preset point on what you're comfortable with. And that could be wealth. It could be relationships. It could be even foreign travel. I see people who won't travel to another country because they feel like, well, not everybody can afford this, or my family can't afford that. And so
or even themselves. I had literally convinced myself that I'm investing in myself right now. I can't travel anywhere. And that's not what you taught, but that's how I perceived it. Because I travel everywhere.
I travel everywhere. I love travel. And I think that we really ultimately should spend money on the things that we love, not more than we get, but really it's getting this relationship. So, but you have a set point. And so if you get something above, you get a job that pays more than maybe your parents made, in today's money. Or if you get like all of a sudden you end up in a nicer house than you think you deserve, or your siblings aren't earning as much as you, or you live in a slightly nicer place. All of this causes us like, am I going to get kicked out of my family? Like, is my family going to love me? So I've seen people, and I've had clients who are really successful investing. We get everything set up. They're earning money, and they get to like a certain mark in their, they get to a certain point, so many zeros in their investment account, and then they're like, and they're very uncomfortable. So they'll stop investing. They've gotten to the point where they're financially independent. And they stop investing because they say, I don't need any more money. I don't need any more money. Now, this isn't a race to get as much money. This is actually about happiness and about fulfillment. But we need time and money to open the doors of opportunity. So if somebody gets to a point, and I actually had a discussion with one of my clients, and I said, why did you stop investing? And she said, if my family found out how much money I have, they would completely disown me. Now, whether that's true or not, like they would stop talking to me. They would, it's already kind of a hard relationship. And so subconsciously, love and being part of their family was more important than wealth. Now, those two aren't intertwined, but our subconscious
100%.
believes that it is.
Exactly.
And so really our thoughts, Gunjani, you already know this, but our thoughts inform our subconscious belief. And so we're going to just, whatever we continually say, and we can get into talking about the brain, but it's really, really important to understand that your money story was formed between ages 2 and 4. You are watching and observing your parents. Children are keen observers of their caretakers. And how does my mom or dad or whoever I'm with, whoever's important in my life, how do they act and respond to money? And then by 7, our money story is actually just set. And we bring that into adulthood. And the understanding of a 7-year-old is running your finances. Then this is why people won't go check their balance in their bank account, because
that used to be me.
They're 7 inside. And so how can we inform this so we can get a better grasp of how would we actually cognitively think about this? So one of the things I talk to people about is, let's bring those subconscious beliefs to the conscious level so we can say, oh, that's why I do this. And then it actually solves most of the problem, just to understand and set new patterns and new thought beliefs. But just the other day, I had a friend come over to my house and she said, I'll never be rich. Now, you know that I don't like the word rich because it's very selfish. I like wealth because it propagates itself. And we know that money is something you have to earn over and over again, but wealth is money put to work. And so
I want to double click into that.
Go ahead.
Money is something you have to earn over and over and over. You go to work or you go do something, add value, and then you earn. Whereas wealth is money working for you. This is a Lisa Smith quote. I love this quote, and I really want to emphasize this. So please go ahead.
And it's important to understand the difference, because if you're just trying to get money, you're going to be on a treadmill for the rest of your life, right? The hamster wheel, a rat race, whatever you want to call it. It all describes the same experience, which is I go to work and I trade my time for money. And then I'm so relieved when I'm done that I spend the whole weekend spending the rest of my money. And then I have to go to work on, we never get ahead, and there's not happiness in that. And the only reason that we're earning money in the first place is so that we can put it to work, and eventually that money will work for us, because that gives us a really amazing lifestyle. We can spend more time with our families, with our children, and passion projects, and helping the community, in teaching what we absolutely love, and spending peace, joy, and happiness. Like, that's what we're after. We're not after a huge bank account. The tool, and money is neutral. And it's like a shovel, so we can dig a garden or we can hit somebody with it. And I don't recommend that. But really, money is just a form of exchange. So you and I have talked about that. We used to use seashells.
I loved when early on in my day, when you first started this, you're like, money is like oranges. Money equals oranges. It doesn't mean anything. It's the value and the energy and our perceptions that we give it. It takes or gives us the power.
Right. And so when you have perspective, so what helps give people perspective is to think long-term. So I'm not about let's get rich quick, because that usually means I'm going to be poor fast. And so that's what that is.
I hope everybody heard that. Yes.
I'm going to build wealth over time, and it's just going to compound and work for me, because I don't want to spend a ton of time doing this. I just want to put my money to work. And you know the concept of like an apple seed. If we planted an apple seed, how many apples could we get from that single seed? And it's like infinity. So we want to have our baby dollars go to work and create more baby dollars and grandbaby dollars, and like just keep propagating, right? Just keep growing themselves. So, but money has to be viewed in a really healthy way. Otherwise, it's like it's against you. Like I'll never have enough, or I earn a lot, but then I can't save any, or I can't earn. And so I'm going to hold on tight to every single dollar that I get. And it's actually kind of rooted in a scarcity mentality. If I spend everything I earn, or if I hold on to everything I earn, I feel like there's not going to be any more money that's coming around. So there actually is a flow of money, and it's really important to just view it that way. So once people get their brains set up of this is how money actually works, and this is how wealthy people think. So wealthy people are not going to consume all of the money that they have. They're going to take a portion of that. So if you want to be wealthy, we mimic what wealthy people have done. And wealthy people will take a portion of their paycheck or whatever they're earning and invest that. That is how wealthy people get wealthier. And yeah. And so if you want to be poor, then you would spend more than you earn. And you would just keep on that track of I'm going to spend everything, or I'm not going to earn very much because I don't feel like I'm worthy of that. But the good news is, Gunjani, that we can raise this subconscious belief, and I call it a deserve level, but we can raise that by just like getting for free. So for free, you can like double or triple what you make. I had one client, Gunjani, who said to me, she said, I went to dinner with my friends and I thought I was the highest earner in that group of friends sitting around dinner. And for some reason, they all decided to say how much they made. So it was actually a benefit to her, because she was certain she was the highest earner. And as everybody went around, and in the US, we don't do this. But they did. And they went around and everybody shared how much they made, their annual salary. And she realized she was the lowest earner in the group. And it immediately raised her deserve level, because she thought, I'm just as smart as my friends. And so she actually went out and got a job, and she tripled her income in like 3 months because it was a mindset shift for her. So it really is just about perspective. And I have learned that there's really no obstacles, that we kind of create these obstacles
100%
of our beliefs. So you are really into this and removing blocks and obstacles, but I think that we paint ourselves into a box, or we put ourselves in a box on how much we can earn or how much we can have. And again, it's not about a competition of, oh, I have the biggest house, because I'm not into that. What I'm into is people reaching their full potential. Like that's exciting. So don't limit yourself and make decisions for 20 years of your life or longer, because you have to fit in a tiny little box that you created when you were 7 years old. You're bigger than that now. So what is your money story? And what would you like your money story to be? You and I both know that what we focus on grows. So don't focus on I can't, focus on how am I going to make that happen? And that starts to change. And we take little steps, little steps, so we don't trigger any fear responses and go to our lizard brain, right? Because when your lizard brain turns on, you lose the ability to be creative and to reason. And so you want to move towards creativity. And as a teacher, you know, they don't overpay teachers, at least in this country. And so I had to be creative because I had less to work with, but I was still able to retire at 45. And that's why I believe everybody can reach financial independence. You just have to have the right mindset and some skills.
Oh, this is so good. Where can I go with this? Like you said so much, so I'm going to kind of summarize some of this because there is so much wealth of information. I feel like this is the podcast that you have to listen to at least 3-4 times in order to actually digest, because now I have lived this experience versus listening to the knowledge, you know, because it's like we only remember 30 to 40% of what we listen to versus like teach and you remember 90%. So I really recommend all of you that are watching this really to like this and hit that notification icon so that you can remember to come back to this podcast, because there's so much that Lisa said. And one of the things that I want to double click into, like that I teach my clients, right, as a manifestation and mindset coach, because I really love focusing on transformation, and I love focusing on the neuroscience and how our brain, our body, which is 80% of how we show up to life, and